The hidden secrets of the Shawshank Redemption that the cast finally revealed. It bombed at the box office. Critics gave it polite reviews, but nothing earth-shattering. And for a brief moment, in 1994, it looked like the Shawshank Redemption would fade into obscurity alongside dozens of other forgettable prison dramas. But then something extraordinary happened. Word of mouth. Cable television. VHS rentals. And slowly, quietly, one viewer at a time, this film about hope and friendship tunneled its way into the hearts of millions. Today, it sits at the top of countless greatest films ever made lists. But what most fans don't know is that beneath its familiar surface lies a world of secrets that even the most dedicated viewers have never uncovered. Hidden meanings the actors themselves have revealed. On-set tensions. Symbolic details placed throughout the film that completely transform how you understand Andy Dufresne's journey. The deleted scenes that would have changed everything. The alternate ending that almost replaced the iconic beach reunion. And the real-life prison where the walls still echo with decades of actual suffering. This isn't casual trivia. These are profound revelations from the people who made the film. And I promise you this, by the time we're done, you'll never see the Shawshank Redemption the same way again. Before we dive into the cast revelations, we need to understand something remarkable. The Shawshank Redemption almost never made it to theaters at all. When the director first approached Stephen King about adapting his novella, King was skeptical. Not because he doubted anyone's talent, but because the story seemed impossible to film. Too internal, too psychological. Too quiet for Hollywood. But what few people know is that King ultimately sold the rights for just $1. Yes, you heard that right. $1 single. It was part of what King called his Dollar Baby program, where he would allow promising filmmakers to adapt his shorter works for a token payment. The lead actor revealed in a 25th anniversary interview that this gesture by King created an unusual freedom on set. We weren't making a big budget blockbuster with studio executives hovering over every scene, he explained. The director had this remarkable creative control because, frankly, the stakes weren't seen as that high. His co-star added, "It's ironic. The film that would go on to be ranked #1 on movie databases for years started as almost an afterthought for Hollywood." This strange beginning set the stage for what would become one of Hollywood's most unlikely success stories. A film that took the roundabout path to greatness, much like its protagonist. One of the most crucial elements in creating the film's authentic atmosphere was the decision to shoot at a real prison that had been closed just 4 years before filming began due to inhumane conditions. What the cast has revealed in subsequent interviews is how profoundly this actual prison affected their performances. The actor who played the brutal captain admitted, "There was something that happened to all of us when we walked through those gates each morning. You could feel the decades of misery in those walls. It wasn't something you had to act. The prison wasn't just a backdrop. It became a character in the film." The lead actor would sometimes sit alone in the cells between takes, absorbing the claustrophobic reality of incarceration. Those cells were tiny. He noted in a later interview, "When you stood in one and the door closed, something primal happened in your brain. The panic was real." What fans may not realize is that many of the extras in the film were actually former inmates of that very prison. The director wanted authentic reactions during the yard scenes and meal sequences, so he hired men who had actually served time there. Their weathered faces and knowing glances weren't acting. They were reliving their own experiences. This dedication to authenticity extended to every aspect of the production. The production team even aged the walls of the prison differently for scenes set in different decades, gradually making them cleaner as the film moved backward in time. A subtle detail most viewers never consciously noticed. The narrator later remarked that this attention to reality changed his approach to his character. "I wasn't playing a prisoner in a movie set. I was playing a man who had spent decades in that specific hellhole. There's a difference." What many viewers don't realize is that each of the main actors developed extensive backstories for their characters. Details never explicitly mentioned in the film, but which informed every gesture, every line reading. The narrator revealed that he created an entire criminal history for his character that went far beyond the film's brief mention of his murder conviction. "In my mind, my character was a man who ran numbers in his community. He was someone who had power on the outside and lost it all. That's why he's so good at getting things inside. He was always a fixer, always knew who to talk to and how to make things happen." This background explained the character's unique position in the prison and his immediate recognition of something different in the protagonist. The lead actor took an even more unusual approach to building his character. "I actually created 2 separate characters," he explained in director's commentary. "There was the version that everyone at the prison saw. Careful, methodical, somewhat aloof. And then there was the real version, the one we only get glimpses of. The one digging through the wall at night. This dual personality informed his performance in subtle ways most viewers never consciously register. When the character is in his public persona, the actor kept his body stiff, his gestures minimal. But in private moments, like when he plays music over the prison speakers, his body language becomes more fluid, more natural. It's a shift so subtle that most viewers feel it without seeing it. Perhaps most fascinating is how the actor who played the elderly librarian approached his character, whose inability to adjust to outside life leads to his suicide. He revealed that he based the character on his own father, who had suffered from depression in his later years. The scene where the character feeds the birds wasn't in the original script, he noted. I suggested it because my father used to do that in the park after my mother died. There was such profound loneliness in that simple act. This personal connection gave the storyline an emotional depth that resonates far beyond its screen time. It's just one example of how the actors infused their characters with pieces of real life that transformed the film from a prison drama into something far more human. If this story about the Shawshank Redemption touches your heart, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. The film is layered with symbolism that most viewers, even devoted fans, completely miss on their first several viewings. The cast has revealed some of these hidden meanings in interviews over the years, transforming how we understand key scenes. The lead actor pointed out a pattern throughout the film that virtually no one notices on first viewing. My character is frequently framed behind bars or through barriers and shots where other characters aren't. Even in scenes outside his cell, the director would position me behind staircase railings or fences. It's a visual reminder that my character feels imprisoned in ways others don't. This visual motif appears dozens of times throughout the film, but registers only subconsciously for most viewers. When you rewatch with this knowledge, it transforms your understanding of how tightly the protagonist is caged compared to the other inmates who have accepted their fate. The narrator revealed another layer of meaning in the film's famous rooftop scene, where the prisoners get to work outside and drink beer in the sunshine. That scene isn't just about a moment of freedom, he explained. If you pay attention, it's when the protagonist first begins to help the guards with financial matters. It's the beginning of his alternate identity. While everyone else sees a man getting them beer, my character sees him building his escape piece by piece. What's fascinating is how this scene subtly foreshadows the escape. He's literally on the roof above the prison, creating the identity that will eventually allow him to break free. The beer, which seems like just a momentary pleasure, is actually the first step in a decade-long plan. Even the film's most iconic line contains depths most viewers miss. When the narrator says his famous quote about getting busy living or dying, it's not just a memorable phrase. It's the thematic core of the entire film. Another actor revealed that the director had the line written on the production office wall before filming even began. The director told us that every scene, every character decision needed to reflect that choice. Are they choosing life or death? Hope or despair? With this understanding, seemingly small moments take on profound significance. When the protagonist plays music over the prison speakers, he's choosing life. When the elderly librarian carves his message before his suicide, he's choosing death. The entire film becomes a meditation on this fundamental human choice. Perhaps no element of the film is more iconic than the movie posters that adorn the protagonist's cell wall. But the lead actor revealed that these aren't just decorations or tools to hide his escape tunnel. They're a commentary on his journey. The posters tell the story, he explained. They represent different eras and different stages of shedding civilization, preparing to crawl through filth, to come out clean on the other side. The director confirmed this interpretation, adding, "The posters show a progression toward freedom. Each one is more revealing than the last. It's the protagonist shedding the constraints of society as he prepares for his rebirth." This carefully planned progression gives new meaning to the famous shot of the poster flapping in the wind after the escape. It's not just revealing his escape route. It's the final shedding of his former identity. The last layer between imprisonment and freedom. One of the most subtle yet effective techniques in the film is how it uses weather to tell its story. The narrator pointed this out years after release. Notice how it's always raining when bad things happen. In contrast, the escape takes place during a thunderstorm. Nature at its most violent and dramatic. But most significantly, when the narrator finds the protagonist at the beach in the final scene, we see bright, clear sunshine for the first time in the entire film. That final scene is the only one in the movie with genuinely beautiful weather, he noted. Every other outdoor scene has clouds, rain, or a gray cast to it. The sun doesn't truly shine until the very end. This visual storytelling technique works so subtly that most viewers never consciously notice it. Yet it affects the emotional tenor of every scene. The prison exists in a perpetual state of gloom, while freedom, true freedom, is bathed in sunlight. For many fans, the moment the narrator finally decides to seek out his friend represents the emotional climax of the film. What few people know is that this scene wasn't in the original script. The narrator revealed this surprising fact in a later interview.